So here's the $1,000,000 question. How are people like us, who don't settle for the status quo, who value freedom and a life without limits, how do we create extraordinary results in the key areas of life, yet skip the fear, stress, and anxiety that produces regret? This is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. I'm your host, Tom Herman, and welcome to the Attractively Different podcast. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Attractively Different podcast. I hope you're doing amazing today and having a great week. Recently had a breakthrough about laziness that I wanted to share with you. And it really just kind of rocked my world and actually kind of shifted a paradigm that I had about laziness that I didn't realize was kind of thwarting my results. It was kind of getting in the way of how I am supposed to do the most important work that I'm called to do. And so I was in a coaching session here recently with my coach, working on some thoughts around doing the work that God has given me to do when it comes to my assignment. And I was explaining how when I pray and ask God for the assignment that day, that particular day, what do you want me to do today, God? Sometimes he doesn't give me a whole lot. Sometimes it's one thing. Like, for example, the other day, it was, I want you to dream and like go into your imagination and think about the actual potential results that you want from the projects that I've given you. Think about what could happen and make a list and bring it to me, because I desire more and I have a greater imagination than even you do, but I want you to think specifically about what results you're looking for in these projects. And I did it. It took about maybe an hour and a half, and I felt like, is that it? Is that all that you want me to do today? Because I have it programmed in my mind that I'm so wired to be working hard and being diligent and need to be working and striving and just pressing forward, because I know what the Bible says about laziness, and it says things like wickedness and poverty and things like that follow laziness, and I don't want to be associated with that. So sharing with my coach these things and asking for direction, and she asked me, she said, well, what is laziness? And I had to think about it for a second. And immediately things like Proverbs came to my mind, Proverbs in the Bible. I had this image of someone who is sitting slouched on the couch with soda, feet up, their belly overhang is coming out of their shirt, and they are binging on Netflix or watching TV. You know, obviously something like that comes to my mind. I think about someone sleeping in, snoozing their alarm and not getting out of bed, which I don't do those things. I'm an early riser. I very rarely watch or binge on Netflix. And so I thought about it. And what came to my mind was, well, laziness is doing or not doing what you know you should be doing and choosing to do something else. So for my kids, if I ask them to clean up the room and they choose to sit and watch TV, they know they should be cleaning up the room and they're choosing to do something else. And as I said that, it hit me that laziness, thinking that I need to do more or need to do something different than what God has given me to do that day, and if I neglect to do what he has given me that day, that's laziness. For example, if you're in the workplace and your boss gives you an assignment and says, I want you to do, create this spreadsheet today, fill it out, and tell me how many sales we get from a company today. And it's like, okay, I got it. And you spend all day organizing your desk, sweeping the floor, but you never do what they tell you to do. How is that going to be received? Let's say that happens for a month. Every day you come in and you fail to do and neglect the assignment that your boss has given you, but you're always working. You're always moving. You're staying busy. They would have grounds to fire you because you're a lazy employee. At least that's my perspective. Like, you're failing to do the assignment that you've been given, even though you're staying busy. And as I as I thought through this some more, I thought about the parable of the talents. And if you're not familiar with the parable of the talents, it's in the New Testament of the Bible. And a master leaves his servants, three servants, different sums of money. They're called talents. That's why it's called the parable of the talents. And one he left 5 talents, another he left 3, and one he left 1. And the first two people who got 5 talents and 3 talents, they each doubled in the time their master was away. They doubled that money. The third one actually buried the money in the ground because he knew that his master, what he says is his master, he knew that he did not, that he reaped where he did not sow. And so he knew that his master was someone who expected results and was using the concept of leverage. He has these employees, these servants, to actually grow his wealth. So 2 of them did what they were supposed to do. And the parable doesn't specifically say that they were supposed to go double their money or increase it, but I'm making the assumption that the fact that 2 of them went and did that, and the third knew that he was expected to grow it, the master was very clear on the assignment. And so I was reading through this parable again, and I realized and saw that the master, who is a picture of God, calls this third person who buried the money in the ground, the talent that he gave him, and he says, "You wicked, lazy servant." And so Jesus doesn't include in the parable what this man was doing besides burying the talent in the ground. I'm assuming that he did not just bury it in the ground and then go to sleep for however long the master was gone. I'm sure he upkept his home. If he had a family, he fed his family. I'm sure he did a lot of things that kept him busy. And yet the master came back and said, "You wicked, lazy servant." He called him lazy because he didn't do the work that the master had assigned to him. That's the conclusion I'm coming to. So the servant who was given an assignment had fear. He knew what he was supposed to do. He had fear and buried it. He neglected it, put it in the ground. And the master came back and said, "You should have at least put it in the bank and got interest." And so I just had this huge paradigm shift that what if laziness wasn't the opposite of being super active? Using the analogy of my kids again, if I tell them to clean up the room and they run around and continue to be playful and they're just super active, that's not being lazy in the aspect of exercise, but they're neglecting the assignment that their authority has given them. So I had to think through, what am I distracting myself with in the name of diligence, in the name of being busy, thinking that I'm not being lazy, but in reality, I'm not fulfilling the assignment that God has given me. The enemy can bring all these distractions into my life. I need to pay these bills. I need to do this thing on the house. I need to do these activities. Or when it comes to growing my business, I need to market in this certain way. I need to go and be making these certain contacts. And yet, if I'm getting something different in my prayer time and what the Spirit is leading me to do, because I had that thought the other day and I had a conversation with someone. I said, I just feel like I'm so wrapped up in doing this type of marketing that I'm not being able to get to what I feel like God has actually put in my heart to do in these projects. And so it's like the Spirit just hit me over the head with this, which is why I wanted to share it with you. And that you can be super busy and you can be quote unquote productive and yet still be lazy in the assignment that God has given you. So if you're thinking, Tom, what does that even look like? I don't even know what my assignment is. Well, what I would encourage you to do is to seek God on what that is, to seek Him, to ask Him, to journal about it. Let Him reveal to you the desires that you have, the passions that you have. Because one thing that I've seen, and I learned this concept from Andy Andrews' book, The Bottom of the Pool, is that by nature of averages and what is ordinary, just by nature of that, the like average, it creates what is true, what we see is to be true. So for example, if the average male is 5'10", that's true. If the current divorce rate for marriages is 50%, I'm not sure what it is, but if it's 50%, that is true. So just by nature of averages, those things are true. But when you look at the average height of a man 300 years ago, it was probably something different. So it's changed. If you look at divorce rate 100 years ago, I'm sure it was something different. So what is true, the average, the ordinary, is changing. It's evolving over time. And yet when you look at biblical principles and how God works, he is the truth, and it never changes. So what the enemy does is he comes into our life and he gives us something that is true that we can see out in the world. That if 50% of marriages end in divorce, well, I'm doing pretty good if I've been married 15 years and haven't been divorced. I'm getting pretty good results. We may not go on date nights very often, or maybe 2 nights out of the week I sleep on the couch because we're fighting, but hey, at least we're not divorced. So those are good results, better than the average. And so it feels true because that's what we see. And yet when you look in God's word and you see that God has something greater than sleeping on the couch 2 nights a week, God has something greater than just having a good marriage. He has exceptional relationships. He has an exceptional marriage for you. And so in order to get there, you have to look past what you see as true in the world and find out what is the truth in God's word. And so I felt like I had that revelation at this moment of this like breakthrough epiphany of, wow, I've been associating laziness with just lack of effort, which is a true definition, sure. But the truth is, laziness is neglecting and choosing not to work on a certain assignment in a certain area. And so it's completely shifted my mindset. I hope it encourages you. There are 3 things that if this is resonating with you, that I would say that you can take action on. I would say 1, on a daily basis, ask God what your assignment is. Spend time, give him your best in the morning. Take 15, 20 minutes, journal, ask him, God, what is my assignment today? What do you have for me? What do you want me to do? If you don't know what your specific purposes or assignment is in life, maybe it's just having that focus. God, show me what I'm good at. Show me what you've blessed me with. Show me areas that I'm passionate about. Bring to me ways that people have been encouraged by me and they compliment me on these traits that I have. And I don't understand why it's so impressive to them, because it comes second nature to me. Ask God to bring to you things that he has blessed you with that are just so innate to you that you don't see them as superpowers, but when other people compliment you, they see them as superpowers. So that may be a place to start. But ask God on a daily basis, what is my assignment today? What do you have for me? What do I need to accomplish today? And realize that by not asking is another form of laziness. Like, there are times that I will do this. I may get wrapped up into doing other things and don't go to God and ask him what he has for me that day. So by not asking the question, not checking in to get my assignment from my, quote unquote boss, is another form of laziness. So 2, this may sound silly, but once you have your assignment, go do the assignment. Make it imperative to get it done that day. And if If it's something that you can do in an hour or 30 minutes, hey, that's great. There are other things that you can accomplish in your day, but you've accomplished the most important thing that he has for you, because it's going to build. It's going to build and it's going to go somewhere. And he has good works for you to do. His word says he has prepared good works beforehand for you to do, and he will equip you to accomplish every good work. So be encouraged that he has good works for you to do. And then the third thing I would say, assess where you're spending where you're being busy. What is in your life currently that's distracting you from either asking God what he has for you on a daily basis, or distracting you from getting done the things that he's asking you to do? So once again, those three things are: one, on a daily basis, ask God what he has for you to do that day. Ask him for your assignment. Two, go get it done, because it's going to build on each other. Once you do the assignment, he's saying, okay, awesome. You're faithful with the little. Now you can be faithful with much more. If you ask for the assignment and never do it, it's showing him that you're not trustworthy. And he's never going to reveal more to you in the assignment until you're actually faithful with what he's been giving you. So two, do the assignment. And number three, assess where your distractions are. Where are you creating busy work or falling into the trap of busy work, so that you're not, where are you being trapped by busy work, thinking that you're being productive, thinking that you're not lazy, but it's actually causing you to neglect your assignment. So I hope this is encouraging to you. I hope it blesses you. And if you like it, go ahead and rate this podcast. Give us a review. Would love your feedback. Subscribe to the show. And if capturing your thoughts, or like working through some of these thoughts that are holding you back, and you're curious if coaching would be beneficial or help you, hey, go to our website, attractivelydifferent.com, and schedule a free discovery call. We can work together. I can have a conversation and see if coaching is right for you. Because one thing we know is that how we do anything is how we do everything. So if a thought like distracting yourself with busy things is causing you to not get the results that you want in your life or in a specific area, that's probably a pattern that's sabotaging results in other areas of your life. And so what a coach can do when we work together is I can see, okay, what patterns are forming? How do we change those thoughts so that you can get the results that you're looking to get in all areas of your life, and actually remove the limits from your life? Because when you're stuck in these patterns, it creates limits, and it can prevent you from living the life that you want to live, but also making the biggest impact on the kingdom and on God's children. So if that's interesting to you, go to attractivelydifferent.com, schedule a free discovery call. We'd love to chat. It's pretty simple. And if it's a good fit, it's a good fit. If it's not, then it's not. So like I said, I hope this blesses you, and look forward to talking to you again. Hey everyone, it's Tom again, and I wanted to ask you a quick question. On a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you that you know God's purpose for your life? I mean, there can be a lot of confusion around this topic, so I went ahead and created a life purpose roadmap to help you gain clarity on your purpose. You can download your free PDF, Life Purpose Roadmap, at attractivelydifferent.com/purpose. It'll walk you through the 7 simple steps to prospering in your purpose. Also, for the next 40 days, I'll be sending you a daily email guide that will help you unlock the full power of the roadmap. These emails are designed to make it that much easier for you to implement the roadmap and succeed in your God-given assignment. It's free. Just go download the Life Purpose Roadmap PDF at attractivelydifferent.com/purpose.